So this is the iPhone 12 Pro, the flagship iPhone of 2020, pioneering that new design language for iPhones. And so this iPhone was truly special. But seeing as it is now a couple of iPhones later, and nowadays you can actually pick one of these things up for $500, should you still consider buying the iPhone 12 Pro in 2023? Let's find out. First of all, as usual, we're going to be starting out with the specs. The iPhone 12 Pro features an Apple A14 Bionic processor, 6GB of RAM, which was a first for iPhone, variable storage options starting at 128, 256, and 512GB. For me, personally, 128GB is plenty, but if you need more, it's always good to know that you can upgrade if you want to. The iPhone 12 Pro comes in several colors, being essentially black, white, gold, and the special color for this generation, Pacific Blue. It features a battery size of 2,850 mAh, 5G connectivity, again, another first for iPhone here, and weighs in at 189 grams, which isn't the heaviest for iPhones. I think that's kind of funny that this generation there was a significant weight drop. And as for the key specs, that's pretty much it. Anybody who's seen one of my reviews before will know that I try to get through this section as fast as possible. And of course, while we will be revisiting things like battery life and screen resolution later on, I personally think it's much more exciting to get to the fun stuff as soon as possible. Following on, we have design, build quality, and the button layout. The iPhone 12 Pro was the first generation of Pro iPhones to feature that new squared off design. It kept what made the iPhone 11 Pro great in its original design language, namely the frosted glass and the stainless steel bezel, but added more features for protection and squared off all the edges to give it that almost iPhone 4S-esque design. I know the squared off iPhone design language was used from the iPhone 4 to the iPhone 5S. I don't know, I just think squared off design is quintessentially the iPhone 4S. Now, obviously this is going to be subjective, but I personally think it looks stunning. Frosted glass back both looks and feels incredible. The stainless steel bezel makes the phone feel even more premium and adds a nice contrast to the matte back of this phone. And again, while looks are subjective, this phone is built to a top-notch standard, which would make sense because this thing was like $1,000 on launch. The iPhone 12 Pro was, of course, also the first iPhone to feature that ceramic shield technology, which essentially makes the front glass more durable, and in my experience, it's actually been pretty good. I will say I have broken one ceramic shield iPhone before, but that was due to an extremely hard drop where the actual case of the phone did end up bending. However, in every other experience I've had with the Apple Ceramic Shield technology, it has never let me down. The iPhone 12 Pro also features an IP68 water resistance rating, which in this case means it can survive in up to 6 meters of water for 30 minutes. And again, while I wouldn't recommend relying on this, it is nice to have some extra protection all the same. Moving on to the button layout, it's basically been the same since the iPhone 10. All I've literally changed is the body shape in that regard, so we get an isolated lock button, separated volume up and down buttons, and the ever useful mute switch. I have in the past noticed that on stainless steel bezel iPhones, the buttons are generally a little bit less tactile. However, here they are nice and clicky, and they've stayed that way, which is always nice to see. And the button layout does just make sense. Overall, design, build quality, and button layout on the iPhone 12 Pro is absolutely top notch. Now, of course, I would recommend a case on this thing because it is absolutely covered in glass. That said though, it is engineered beautifully. The look and feel of this phone are absolutely second to none, and in 2023, this thing, in my opinion, still looks like it could be a flagship. Next up, we have the screen, which is seriously stunning on this phone. The iPhone 12 Pro features a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display with a resolution of 1170 by 2532, and in the current year, this thing looks absolutely stunning. It features a PPI of 460, so this thing always looks crispy, especially at the distances you'd usually be using your phone. I've personally never seen any pixels, even if I get way too close. And the contrast levels due to the XDR OLED display look absolutely phenomenal, with nice deep shadows and bright highlights, with rich contrast, so overall you get an amazing looking picture. Also, as is common with all modern iPhones, the iPhone 12 Pro does feature Apple's True Tone technology, which, if you don't know what this is, it essentially keeps your colors balanced in all lighting conditions, so you always get nice looking accurate colors, which, well, as we've already established, the iPhone 12 Pro will display very nicely. The 12 Pro also features a secondary interaction method, namely haptic touch. This is a time-based secondary interaction, but it essentially allows you to open up hidden menus in your iPhone's UI, and as you'd expect, this thing works absolutely flawlessly. Overall, the screen on the iPhone 12 Pro in 2023 is It's amazing. Like, it's everything I would want in 2023. While it isn't going to have those crazy high refresh rates like you get on the Android side of things, everything it does absolutely flawlessly. Next up, we have Face ID, which is the main unlock method for this iPhone. On the iPhone 12 Pro, it is faster than ever nowadays. I don't know if I'm imagining it or not, but iOS 16 does seem to have made Face ID just a little bit snappier. That said though, Face ID was already really good on the iPhone 12 Pro. It was nice and snappy. You had the option to unlock your phone from multiple angles rather than having to hold your phone directly to your face. And in my opinion, this is what makes a good biometric system. Secure, but also quick. And in my opinion, the iPhone 12 Pro is just that. Following on, we have the camera. And there were a lot of really cool features introduced on the iPhone 12 Pro. In terms of specs, the iPhone 12 Pro features a triple 12 megapixel camera system with a standard f1.6 lens, a telephoto f2 lens, and an ultra-wide f2.4 lens. This was also the first iPhone ever to feature Apple DNG RAW, which for enthusiast mobile photographers like myself was an absolute game changer. Essentially, it allows you to capture way more detail when you go to take a photo, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but first of all, let's have a look at some photos. In terms of photo performance on the iPhone 12 Pro, it's honestly what you'd expect from a pro-level iPhone, thanks to a smart combination of software such as Deep Fusion, shut the fuck up, along with some rock-solid hardware. The photos I've got out of the iPhone 12 Pro look absolutely stunning. Contrast, dynamic range, and sharpness all look incredible. The color science is nice, and while there is a little bit of distortion on the edges of the ultra-wide lens, for the most part, the photo performance on the iPhone 12 Pro is absolutely incredible. As I said though, the iPhone 12 Pro also features DNG RAW. This means that essentially I can take my photos, import them into Lightroom, edit my photos, and I will have significantly more information to work with, such as setting the actual exposure value afterwards or adjusting hue values, which will overall lead to a cleaner final image, which honestly, in my opinion, is pretty impressive. Of course, the iPhone 12 Pro does also feature night mode, the 12 line actually being the first to bring night mode to all of the cameras. It looks excellent on the standard and the telephoto lens, and on the ultra wide, unfortunately, it doesn't look as good. Don't get me wrong, it's still usable, it's just not quite as good. Of course, the iPhone 12 Pro does also have a selfie camera with a 12 megapixel f2.2 true depth camera, and here, selfies look pretty good. You also get night mode here. Again, it actually does look pretty good here. Again, portrait mode's here, and overall, selfies look pretty good. The iPhone 12 Pro also shoots video in 4K and up to 60 FPS on all cameras with Dolby Vision HDR in up to 60 FPS, and the video off this phone looks absolutely great for iPhone video. No doubt I'll be using this thing for some inserts in my YouTube videos when I don't have my big camera with me, and if you just want to make some YouTube videos, then chances are the iPhone 12 Pro is probably all you need to get started. We also do get slow motion here in 1080p and up to 240 FPS, and while this technology has come a long way, I would still personally only use this for fun. Overall, the cameras on pro-level iPhones are typically pretty impressive, and on the iPhone 12 Pro, it is no exception. The photography technology in this tiny phone is seriously impressive, and I would have no problem using this thing as a point-and-shoot replacement in 2023. So yeah, overall, nice. Next up, we have the most important aspect of the modern smartphone experience: iOS and app performance. In terms of the operating system, the iPhone 12 Pro is now running iOS 16, and seeing as this thing was released in 2020, this thing will almost definitely be good for several more generations, which is nice. Generally, iPhones get a minimum of 5 versions of iOS nowadays, and considering this thing is a Pro iPhone, chances are this thing's not going anywhere anytime soon. In terms of the actual OS performance, scrolling through the operating system, opening up stock apps, performing system functions like haptic touch, all work absolutely flawlessly, as you would expect from a Pro level iPhone, even if it is a couple of years old. In terms of more intensive performance, thanks to that screen and the 5G networking capabilities, watching 4K videos on this thing goes off without a hitch. In terms of gaming, while I'm probably not as big of a gamer as some of you watching, I do like to play some casual games from time to time, and again, this thing goes off without a hitch. Performance is very good on this phone, and chances are, seeing as it is a relatively new pro-level iPhone, it's unlikely that this is going to change for a good while. Okay, quickly going back to the hardware, we have these speakers. The iPhone 12 Pro features that stereo speaker technology which you get on all iPhones nowadays. It gets decently loud, they have some nice clarity to them, and for their intended purposes of watching some videos or casually listening to some music while you cook, these things will be absolutely fine. Just don't try to do anything crazy on them, like edit a video. That probably wouldn't be as good, but for their intended purposes, yeah, they work fine. And finally, we have the battery life. The iPhone 12 Pro features a rather underwhelming battery size of 2,815 milliamp hours, but as we know, specs usually aren't the most important thing when it comes to iPhone performance. So, how well does this thing actually perform in getting me through an average day-to-day use? Well, to be honest, for me, I can usually get through my day just fine. That said, I'm not a particularly heavy user, and I do occasionally, on heavier days, find myself plugging this thing in at night. great. So if you are a heavy user who likes to play lots of games or watch lots of videos for several hours a day, then you may want to bring a charger with you. Okay, so to summarize, who should buy this phone in 2023? Well, in my opinion, this iPhone is for people who want all the really cool features that higher end iPhones offer, but don't typically want to spend more than what a regular iPhone costs. For example, Apple currently sell the iPhone 12 new. This thing is about the same price. So while you do lose out on Apple support and Apple Care, you get 3 cameras, wicked performance, and if you're like me, then this is a no-brainer. I've had an absolute blast using the iPhone 12 Pro, so if you're an enthusiast photographer or just want that extra performance, then the iPhone 12 Pro is a very good buy in 2023. Alright guys, so that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed this one. Let me know, by the way, have you ever used an iPhone 12 Pro? Do you have one? Are you planning to buy one? Are you watching this video on one? Feel free to let me know in the comments. I always enjoy reading those. As for now though, as always, thank you for watching. Remember to like the video if you want to see more content like this, then smash that subscribe button. I'm done for now, and I will see you guys in the next one.